allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would also like to just let you guys know, if you're not going to social distance, we do ask that you wear a mask. Since COVID is so high right now, we don't want to be responsible for anybody being sick. And we do have some if anybody doesn't have any. They're on the table. First on our agenda is approval of minutes of the previous meeting, which we do not have those yet because we just now adjourned it, so.
Those will be pending next month.
Those will be on our next month agenda for us to approve. Next, we have approval of office.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Davis. Do we have any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Judy Espinoff.
Yes.
Mark Evans, John Kippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Trentham,
Yes.
and James Whitty.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is approval of notaries. Our first one was Rita Diane King. She works at the Carter Services LLC. Next, we have Ryan M. Qualls. He works at Higgins Funeral Home.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Esquinox. Do I have any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Judy Espinoff.
Yes.
Mark Evans, John Kippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Trentham.
Yes.
And James Whitty.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is the budget amendments. We do have one. John Hoyt handed those out. It's going to come from General 101.
I'll address that real quick if that's okay. This is to buy 2 pieces of equipment and some new permanent stock. Half-old stock. The equipment is Garmin GPS Field Pro, and an Olympus wave format recorder. And I don't think it's gonna hit the $800 mark, but it will fall back into fund balance at the end of the year.
What's our budget amendment number?
This will be number 17. That's correct, Ms. Rogers, the last one was 16, you have on the list.
Yes.
This should be number 17 for 101.
1013900 coming out of fund balance of 800 into line 51220-499. The others supplies and materials of 800.
What's the measuring equipment for?
We have stumbled/had slammed the 2,000-foot rule in our face on 4 locations.
You're gonna have to speak up.
We have a pending lawsuit, and it deals with the footage rule, and we had to go back and remeasure 4 other locations that they identified. 2 of which actually had their permit prior to the footage rule being adopted. One was outside the 2,000-foot rule when the first permit was given, apparently, but then it moved, sort of. And the other one we revoked. But we're gonna have to come up with a set system, not mobile maps and multiple people shooting the distance to do it, and the Garmin seems to be the most certified without going to the survey that's out there. I believe they're certified within 2 foot of the full field per 1,000. Does that sound right? Where you've worked with some of the field units for the dog units and the drivers. I think it's 2 foot per 1,000. Surely we can't miss it. 7 foot 2,000. In general, the way it's explained, I did talk to their tech person today at the corporation before I done this budget amendment to make sure that it was reliable for what we want. You go to that position at the building, you hit your waypoint, you go to the next waypoint, mark it, and it will do a straight line measure. It'll also do travel mileage, and it will report to the computer where you have a permanent copy and can print.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Esquinox, second by Davis. Any more discussion? Roll call. Oh, sorry.
What's wrong with going out and measuring it whenever you have an application?
Not a thing, we've done it for years. We've also used
Physically,
the
check.
GRS units. I mean, it's great, 2,000 foot. The problem is if you have a hill or a tree, you can't shoot yardage pros. We've done it, and we've relayed locations where we hit a mark, go to it and then shoot again and do the add two distances, this and that. But at 2,000 foot, a lot of times you can't get a clear line of sight. And you sure can't use a roller because you get travel footage, which is a whole different measurement. I mean, every hill and every gully adds footage.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Eskenance.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trantham.
Yes.
And James Whitty.
No.
Next on our agenda is the nonprofit gift expenditures. I have the list. I feel like I'm not,
Yeah, my understanding is this just has to be presented before the read off in the meeting, what we've done for the expenditures issue. Is that right, Rob?
That's correct.
Okay.
During our budgets, we always give our amounts to certain organizations. And this year, we have gave Ocoee Youth Center DBA Boys and Girls $1,212.50. People Helping People has got $587.50. Living Free Community Outreach $300. Polk County Baptist Association got $537.50. Sharp got $300, and Tennessee Overhill got $62.50 for a total of $3,000. Okay. Next on our agenda is our county internet.
Let's see, that's number 9, isn't it? I'm going to start with Robbie on this. Robbie, we had discussed, and where does it stand on internet in and around the courthouse for the public use?
Mr. William Haynes, if you all remember, with American Internet Services, had approached the board about the possibility of using the courthouse as a spot to put a tower. He had said that he was kind of in a hurry to try to get that done, and another spot came up, so he is not going to be needing the courthouse for that. But he has said that he would still adhere to what he had said that he would do and try to help the county to have a Wi-Fi system around the courthouse. That was mine and his conversation right around or just before Christmas, and I've not spoken with him in the last 2 weeks.
Any idea on time frame?
And he said that, of course, with COVID and getting stuff, but he was going to be very adamant trying to get that done here in the next couple of weeks, and of course with the weather, but he is still going to try to help the county as far as getting some Wi-Fi on the outside of the building, like what he talked about before, even though he's not going to have the tower on top of the courthouse to help transmit to the rural areas of the county.
We had some issues at Hammond's Park here a couple of weeks ago, and we was looking at some security, possibly putting some security cameras and stuff down there. And one of the ideas that had come up because the security cameras mean a DVR. It means that it's centrally located, and your DVR can't transmit any other way unless you have internet. And the webcams or internet serviceable cams are extremely cheap and easy now. And looking at what we've done before, we bid it out twice. We took RFPs, let's put it that way. We took RFPs out twice and we voted twice to do it. To put internet in and around this courthouse, free use to the people. We had it at one time, under previous administration, but another administration come in and it disappeared. And that's kind of a sore spot. Anyway, we done it for here in an area that reached the outskirts of the courthouse, over to the front of the gas station, to the sides of the Polk County News, and over to the corner of Preferred Pharmacy, pretty much in a square. We also put RFP out for equipment to do the community center above the mountains. We ended up not doing it. We voted to do it, but then this idea come up, that idea come up, and they're all good ideas, but we haven't got it done. And where we sit at right now is, well, there's a lot of kids right now around Benton I know that could use it, especially with the school doing the AB schedule, doing the online learning. There was an issue that had been mentioned that the library down here was cutting theirs off in the evening. I talked to Commissioner Esplanade. You had checked on that, correct, Dewey, that they were keeping it on
Yes.
night down here.
24 hours here.
But above, it is not, or it's
So
on
the timer on it turns it off at 11 and back on at 6 a.m.
So, when that, and they have some reasons that I don't necessarily agree with on that. But I would like to know what we're gonna do. We've got people that we need more internet throughout the county. The county's not going to grow, especially these days, without higher speed internet. And being able to access it, watch YouTube or whatever, anything to take your mind off this COVID junk. We need to implement something. I would like to see it at Hammons Park. I'd like to see us to add the same idea we have here at the courthouse to Hammons Park, and I guess that's what I'm asking for is permission to do an RFP for Hammons Park and the community center to get extended open public Wi-Fi in both locations. With the understanding that we are going to get the courthouse through this other provider. Correct, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Sometime in the next month.
What about the volunteer electric, the donation we give?
Well, we've not expended it. It's still
I
sitting there.
mean, where's that at? Has anybody heard of volunteer electric?
We did not qualify under the last run of grant. Is that correct?
So we were too close to the deadline.
Too close to the deadline.
Well, we acted on the minute we heard about it. One volunteer electric approached us, we done it that very night.
Right.
I mean,
Well, we did, but the grant has been out there for a while. I contacted volunteers a good while before we had them here at this meeting. Matter of fact, I asked them to come to the meeting when I heard about it. But they were looking, they used that money, that was a flow-through, quick hit money. And what they done, well, they had these other places that they were looking at doing anyway. That money come through, they pretty much jumped on what they had done the certifications on. They'd done the checks on, they'd got some of the right-of-ways and easements signed. That's where that money pretty much went. Same way with Comcast. My understanding, they had some areas in Monroe, McMinn and Monroe that they were already looking at doing. It was on the schedule. The money come in, so they jumped on it and went and got it done.
Once again, where the votes are.
Now, we've made several requests, and we've let Dan Howard, and all the offices know that we are demanding those consideration. And we've also done the internet ready resolution, which actually puts us on more points for the next set of grants. We should have done that years ago. I'd never heard of it until I talked to the guy at Tree, whatever we call it here, Electric, Mountain, the one they contract with, to do the, well,
No, not you.
I don't care, I'll be called a lot worse. But we are doing everything we can to set it up to be in line for the next set of money for high-speed internet to the county. But my gosh, what they're saying it costs for 1 mile of line is unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fiber optics higher than the cable by all means.
Well, McMahon and Monroe had already on the previous year or two before this stuff come available through the state, had already got around that.
They have. And it looks like there's gonna be a little bit more come through, but not as big a grants on this last run of CARES money. Now, whether it's gonna come our way or not. But back to the question, can I get permission to send RFPs out for the Hammonsfield and the community center? It's just RFPs. I'll bring them back, set the date up for Robbie's office to open them. And if we don't like them, if it does not fit, then we just don't accept them. Now, I had talked to Commissioner Espinots. He has a group at school that does a fantastic job on anything they do on computers. But we talked the other day, you're not sure what time frame that, if they've done it here, set it up, the time frame of this A being COVID is still questionable.
Correct.
So, but I mean, they do a phenomenal job. And that's one of the reasons, I wish, I got on it heavier sooner. We could have got them done it, and we'd already have it. We had it here once. And there's a change, and somebody cut the cables that went down the walls, let them fall to the ground, that went to the antennas, and the equipment got hauled off. We had good service around the courthouse. Kids used it all the time coming down to 315, but you're right out there on the courthouse square, getting their whatever they needed, downloaded and saved, and take it on home.
Well, I make a motion for give approval. Let it rock and roll. I mean, these kids need something.
Motion made by Davis, second by Espinots. Any discussion?
Can any more of the COVID relief money we used to pay? I mean, since that school's out, or has been out, they be scheduled,
I don't know that we.
that could be related to that.
I don't know that we have any new code CARES money out of this last round. I know the school system does. Well, I was told the other day the school system has a fund coming out this last CARES money. Now, whether it is or doesn't. But the RFPs will take, won't be here till February meeting, possibly March. So as far as funding, there's time to talk about that in the meantime. But this just gets us the price and tells us what the equipment is in the general range that will be provided, and general speed
Right.
of what we can expect. Like I said, we done voted to put it in twice, and somehow we just kind of know. It's my fault, but we just didn't do it.
Roll call?
What is the motion?
To
Just
take
take
R.
RFPs, not saying we'll have to spend anything, just see what it's gonna cost.
Rick Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Dewey Estimate,
Yes.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trentham.
Yes.
James Woody.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is the Polk County Ambulance Service.
We just had an Ambulance Service Committee meeting. We have talked with Tim Mayor. They have advised us that they will have, as far as they know, they will be in full compliance with the contract in the next 14 days. Is that correct? Should be.
If everything goes to plan, the people are already scheduled to come on next week, they're turning in their notices with other employers.
So it's going to come on, y'all offer $10,000 prorated sign-on bonus. For that, we do know that we're under the COVID, need people to work throughout the U.S. We do, 2 weeks ago, Tennessee was 13th on that list of needing paramedics and EMTs and nurses. I keep forgetting that nurses were listed on that too, but I don't remember if that was 13th or they may have been 10th. Anyway, so we understand all that, but we do expect the contract to be fulfilled. You have been advised we've had a concern raised on meds and the copy of the document that you were given. And y'all want to look at that. We're going to look at that a little further, and the county attorney is going to review that concern and send it, correct?
That's what you all asked.
That's what we asked. That's it.
Next on our agenda is the Polk County Land Agreement Purchase and Industrial Park from our November meeting.
Anybody else put something on the agenda? You all know? Jeez. Okay. No. I wouldn't know what put that much on the agenda. You got the resolution. That's the resolution. First thing we need to do on this is we need to rescind all previous motions that were given on the land that joins the Remington, the polymer components in the industrial park from the previous meetings. And I make that a motion that we rescind all previous motions on that property.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Brooks. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Estimate.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trentham.
Yes.
James Wood.
Yes.
Next thing on on this, Mr. Chairman, would you please read the resolution? This should, from what I understand, take care of the issue with the property. Is that correct, Robbie?
Yes.
And it deals with transferring the property to IDB.
Okay, so our first resolution will be 1-1-21. A resolution authorized and approved the transfer of Tract 3 in the Polk County Industrial Park Phase 2 located in Benton to the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation, and to authorize the county executive to execute a quitclaim deed on behalf of the Polk County, Tennessee, to the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation. Whereas Ralph Brett, owner of Polymer Components, is interested in purchasing Tract 3 in the Polk County Industrial Park Phase 2 located in Benton, and more particularly described in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporate herein by reference property, so he can build an additional facility and expand his business in Benton. Whereas Ralph Brett is interested in working out an agreement with the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation regarding the property, and request that the county transfer the property to the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation. Whereas the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation is interested in working with Ralph Brett, and request that the county transfer the property to the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation. Now, therefore be it resolved by the legislative body in session assembled that 1, the transfer of Tract 3 in the Polk County Industrial Park Phase 2 located in Benton to the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation is authorized and approved, and 2, the county executive is authorized to execute a quitclaim deed on behalf of the Polk County, Tennessee, to the Polk County Industrial Economic Development Corporation. Be it further resolved that this resolution take effect from and after its passage, the public welfare requiring it. This
21st.
21st day of January 2021. You do them together?
Motion to approve, was there,
This is Exhibit A,
Oh.
resolution. One.
it's just one resolution, it's part of it. There's not two resolutions.
That's what it looks like. There's two. It's Exhibit A.
This one. I think this second page just got the resolution on it. That's just a continuation of the first page. Right?
I assume so, that's what the county attorney
It's just a
said.
description included.
I assume so, yes, sir.
I believe that's the only part of the first resolution, that's just where the header stays, possible.
Okay, Exhibit A, Part M-046-029.00, located in the First Civil District of Polk County, to wit, being Tract 3 of the Polk County Industrial Park, Phase 2, as shown on record flat book 16, page 53 in the Register of Deeds Office, Polk County, Tennessee, incorporated herein by reference, being part of the property convoyed by the warranty deed from S.C. Maynard Pressmore Clayton to Polk County, Tennessee records on September 17th, 1979, and book 98, page 19 in the Register of Deeds of Polk County, subject to assessments, setbacks, regulations, and notations as set out on Flat Book Record and Flat Book 16, page 53 in the Register of Deeds of Polk County, Tennessee. Subject to power line that crosses the herein described Tract 3 as shown on Flat Book Record and Flat Book 16, page 53 in the Register of Deeds of Polk County, Tennessee. Subject to restrictions that the above description property shall be used for the industrial, manufacturing, or commercial purposes only, subject to any applications, governmental zoning ordinance, or subdivision regulations in effect thereon.
So that, I'm assuming we're just including that as part of, just the description of Resolution 1129.
Yes. Because that's Exhibit A, that's our whole. Yeah.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 1/21.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Davis. Any discussion?
Yes, where's the money go for the sale? On this one, I know what we've done on previous money, but where does the money go if they make,
If you turn it over to the board, it would be theirs.
well, I don't know that the money automatically becomes theirs. I know we voted to give them money in previous, is that automatically theirs for now on any property we give them? Or does that have to be voted on each time?
I'm not 100% because that was something that the board had done earlier. I don't know as far as the in-depth on that. I didn't work with the county attorney on this much, if any.
I don't know that the way we gave them the money last time meant that any property that they received from us, that they got the funds from it each time.
I'm sure you do. Because I have that question too.
You know, I mean, does it go to does the sale go to them, or does it go back to county general?
I always felt like it should go back to county general and then we could distribute how if they needed it. Because we did give them a price extension on it.
Yeah, and we done that by motion. I don't remember anything in that resolution. Was there anything in that motion that we done to capture any other properties other than what we voted on that night?
We should have.
I honestly can't remember.
It specifically said certain ones.
Yeah. Do what?
It specifically said certain amounts.
Yes, that's why I don't remember if it addressed any further problems.
You'll look into that?
Well, I hate to hold this up because this has been already from November when we first addressed it.
Well, if we've done give it to them, it's gonna be late anyway, we've done give them power. If we hadn't.
We haven't, we took it back.
We took it back.
Yeah, that was the first thing. Anything that was decided, we took back.
On property, as far as the sale, we wiped that because there's some issue on that sale.
We give them the property of the parks, and we give them some money.
Right.
Then whenever they sell property, and that goes in their fund, and they use it to further advance the things of the board.
But what he's saying is if we give all of our land away and they sell it, the county gets nothing back from it. Or the county is never
We-
growing in their.
We do
general
in
fund.
what they do in selling and bringing in business.
Actually, I don't know if that's the way we voted on it. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Did we vote that any property we gave them, that they retain the funds from that property? Or did we just do the property that we gave them at the time of that motion and resolution?
Well, if we do every one of them, how are we ever gonna prosper if they don't ever come back?
Well, I
on
mean,
to taxes?
if they sell it, you know, they get the money, but the creation, you have to hope that the creation of the business and
We have to hope that
taxation.
they come back.
Yeah, I mean,
It's never, that's why I had questions to start with, if we're gonna divide it, so we can grow from it, both of us.
and they did what we've done that now. What I'm thinking about seeing things in the future.
I know, I thought it was future options, but I could not.
And I can't remember.
I wasn't really for it, but I think.
So I just seen this come in today, right? You brought it, this, or
If we never
yesterday,
spend the money,
yeah.
how are we supposed
This
to-
come in yesterday.
It's on there on the email when it came through.
It did pass what we voted on that night, passed, but, no other questions?
So we're just gonna,
Vote on it.
okay.
We, motion and second there. I mean, that's just a question that we need to review before, it ever comes up again.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Dewey Estimate,
Pass.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
John Pippinger,
Come back to me.
Samantha Trentham,
Pass.
James Woody,
Yes.
John Pippinger,
That quick? We can back on that, great. Yes.
5 yes, 2 pass.
Do what? I just don't.
Does anybody want to change their vote?
It's over now.
You have that option on your
No, I'm good.
Yeah, you have that option, so we'll call the next agenda.
I'm keeping them. All right, next on our agenda is the Chamber of Commerce.
Excuse me. Most of you may know that we had a change in our director over the past few months. the former director went to the Over Hill, and so we actually, this last meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, we elected our new director. And I'd like to introduce Lynn McClary to you and let you see her and be acquainted with her.
It's good to see you here tonight.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is redistricting. That's for us.
I attended the online CTAS training on redistricting because every 10 years we have what's called as a census. And that's when they come in and count up all the people in the county to give an estimate on what the county population has changed to. And we were required by law each 10 years to check the districts and make sure that there's equal representation to the commission and the people in it. So basically what they do is they take the new numbers that are going to come out sometime in March or April, and they're going to divide it by how many number of commissioners there are. So you get a basic representation. So one commissioner, just to give you an example, if we had 9 commissioners and 9,000 people in the county, we've got a lot more than that. But that would be equalizing 1,000 people per commissioner would be represented. So the district lines have to be drawn so that if they can basically within 10% of each commissioner, the amount of people that they represent. And this year it should be fairly easy to do because they're going to give us all the software and the training that we need, and they're going to have the county already mapped out in what's called blocks. And each one of those blocks is a different amount, a different number. And it might be big blocks or little blocks, depending on the population density. And basically you add all those blocks up, and it's basically just selecting them on the computer, and it's going to tell you how many people's in that particular district, whether you need to widen it or narrow it, so that it equalizes the number of people that each commissioner represents. Nothing's going to happen immediately. The only thing that has to happen right now is in January, we need to let the state know what type of assistance that we need in doing all this. And there's 3 options. You have somebody in your county that's tech savvy, or you can have CTAS representative assist the county, or you can have their office come in and give you the best options to do it. So basically in January, all we got to do is decide how much help we want from CTAS on doing redistricting. And then later on in the year, whenever the numbers are released from the census and the software is given to us, then we have to form a committee, and it usually needs to include hopefully the election people and the school board people, because everything works together to make sure that the districts are equalized so that the people have equal representation. So basically all we need tonight is to let the state know which level of assistance we want.
I feel like we need to set a board or a committee for this before we, really decide.
Well, you've got 2 issues there. You've got, you have the board still 5-member, is the board still 5-member board plus an election coordinator and candidate?
All we had last time was about 5 members.
Yeah, I know, but the law, like 10 years ago when we done it, it was a 5-member board for the commission. It was county executive, was ex parte non-voting member, and then the director of elections, and I think the city had, each city had 1 representation in it. Is it still like that, or did they go over that part of the training?
They didn't go over that part of the
They didn't go over
training.
that part of the training. It seemed like only about 4 commissioners showed up to the meetings, but, and county executive. Last 2 times that we've done it, we've had CTAS as our representation. And actually, CTAS or the state election board.
You know, it could be anybody.
Big meetings. But the state offers who is help.
Yeah.
CTAS and.
Basically, everything's computer generated.
Right.
And you just draw a circle on the map, okay, this is in the district, whichever block you want, block it out, this is District 1, this is District 2, this is District 3. And you know, check the numbers, do they equal, are they within 10% of each other? They recommended me under 10%, because over 10%, the county can get sued very easily, and you will lose, they said.
Well, that's what they told us last time, but we did over 10% last time.
The state gave us maps that had all the numbers on it, and we could tell by the blocks or make blocks.
Yeah.
And along with CTAS, we was able to mix and match. I served as chairman of that in 2010. And, but they, whenever they give us the maps and everything, it wasn't hard at all. They had the numbers of the population in certain areas and as they are and what you could do.
This year, they're gonna have it mapped out and marked on there where their current commissioners live, so you make sure you don't mess up what's already existing.
Right.
They're gonna have that marked on the maps, on the computer, including, I believe, the school board numbers too.
What's fun is when you look at that map and you get what they refer to as it's the jump area, which is the national forest.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're over down here and you need to send some to District 3. With the kids from down here going to South Polk School or Polk County High School.
We run into that last time.
Yeah, that's what we run into last time. That's what we had to write up.
Their next send it to the Springtown, Greasy Creek in District 3.
Yeah.
Well, kids from Springtown and Greasy Creek, they go to school down here.
Yep.
And that's the
what
way we got
around
around.
all that. And it got,
They sort of give us a variance, didn't they? Because
Yep.
because we're geographical
Yep.
makeup of the county.
That, the 3-page report we sent them.
Yeah.
The 3-page letter explaining why we couldn't exactly do that.
So we doing CTAS?
That would be, is CTAS all right with you doing it? Does that be your recommendation as far as assistance?
I don't believe we need.
Yeah, they come in handy last time, because some of the committee wanted to do it a certain way, which was not allowed by law. And they saved us a lot of time instead of following that.
If there's an argument amongst the committee, yeah, it'd probably be
Yeah.
good to have them.
We do have a new representative from CTAS for Polk County. Now, Gary's, Mr. Hayes is still doing her 20-day cycle to cycle out, but we do have a new representative. And I think she's brand new to the service, and I forgot what her name is. Probably you. You went to training this time.
I don't know that we need to vote, but somebody just needs to inform them.
Do we want? I mean,
No cost us nothing.
no, there's still no cost to us, right, on the assistance.
No, they give us all the software free, all the training free.
So, I mean, what difference does it make really?
They need to hear what.
We'll break the new one in right. I asked
I mean,
Hayes.
I don't know, no blind
Hayes-
faith, yeah.
I asked Hayes if they had warned the new one about Polk County, and if they offered her hazard pay. He said if they didn't warn her, therefore they didn't have to offer hazard pay.
Okay, then,
So,
I can't be wired as a dog.
Okay.
Their schedule is, you let them know by January 31st. Then by March 31st, you form a redistricting committee. And then by May 3rd, you decide on how many districts and commissioners that you need, because you have to have at least 9 commissioners in the county, but no more than 25.
I like 11. Let's go back to
And
11.
districts do not have to be the same number of commissioners. They can have 1, 2, or 3. It could be a mixture.
Why is it that?
And then all the redistricting has to be done by December 31st.
December 31st.
Yes, because you've got the elections coming up next year for commission.
What get confusing on the school board, those staggered terms, you know, all 9 of us run at the same time. Yeah, the school board, you got 2 in one district, and then 2 years later, 1 runs, 2 years later, in 3 different districts. That'd be a nightmare.
Well,
Need to straighten that.
that first run on that, they still do the variance on the representation part, I think. That's the way they done it last time. But we went to 11, we had, let's see, 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago when we went to.
It's been 9 for 20 years, 16.
Yeah, maybe 16 years. So that's what caused us to go from 11 to 9 commissions.
In fact, it's been 18 years.
Yeah.
Next on our agenda is the library board applications.
Is it just one of these that's being picked, or both of them approved?
Put that one on there. We'll put that one on there. This is the library application.
How many opens we have?
We put it on there.
One of them is for the local board and the other one's for the regional board.
So we got 1 opening on each of them. We'll do the
So-
local one first, I guess. I don't know.
We'll do local one first.
Where you going to do?
The local board for the appointments for the library is Timothy Woody. And regional library board is Sharon Leak.
There's 2 appointments and there's 2 library.
Well, I mean, there's one on each board.
Is this
All
all
of them
that's,
together or just
Yeah,
say-
you can do.
is this all that is applied, or is this what you recommend?
That's all that's applied, yeah.
Or do you have a disrecommendation on either one? I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, what
Do you see a train wreck here either way?
No, no.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve both applicants.
I second it.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Esconance. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Esconance.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Franklin.
Yes.
James Woody.
Yes.
Next, we have the appointment of the 2021 Agriculture Extension Committee member, Mr. Paxton.
The letter there. This year we've got 2 committee members whose terms have expired. It's James Woody and Daniel Deal. Both those are commission appointments, and just recommend that they be reappointed for another 2-year term.
Make a motion to reappoint.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Evans. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Esconance.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Franklin.
Yes.
James Woody.
Yes.
Next is our Copper Basin Hospital. Robbie.
I put in your package the offer that came through from Erlanger, the amount of $2,675 for the equipment. I know talking with different one of the commissioners that is a real low ball offer. And in my opinion, no is the correct answer for that.
Motion to decline offer.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Esquinox to decline it. Any discussion?
Yeah, I was wondering, we discussed this the last time, we had a resolution there, 10-4-19, and we give the county county executive as well as the mayor of Ducktown, authorize them to go ahead and sell that.
That was for the
Equipment.
certain stuff that we had that day. So legally, we have to do another one.
To sell that surplus property between the two, I feel like they would get a fair price for it.
Do you think this is a fair price?
Instead of
for
coming
it?
to the county commission each time to sign off on it.
James, I think the understanding was that was on that specific property we voted on. That's what I understood after we had that meeting that night. Now, I don't know, Robbie, was that the understanding? I mean, you want to drop it back?
It was like we said in that last meeting as well. I know how rumors fly. I know how things go. At best, that's a low ball.
It is.
And when you bring things out and you let everybody know, because somebody's gonna turn that around and say, well, the county turned down $26,700. I can't believe Robbie Hatcher turned down it's $2,675. And Doug's sitting back there nodding his head as well. It was a laugh at what they actually offered, in my opinion.
It was when I got done the research on some of the equipment, and one thing that really stood out, they got the lateral files. I looked them up, and they were like $600 to $700 a year, and they're offering $50 a piece. So that was, and with the city, we talked about the meeting earlier, and we wasn't going to pass it, so, you know, so that's, you just sort of fall in our seat, that's a good deal. I mean, so, I like me and Robbie talked earlier, if they were summing it up around, if they wanted bad, we got in the $30,000 range or something where it's worth their time, we probably went with it, but, yeah, I think it's better off, definitely, you know, if we try to find, if somebody wants to buy the hospital, I think it's definitely service better, because they offered us about $300 for that.
It was over percent.
The what?
That upper cent,
The upper cent, I looked them up, refurbished.
I just said they were on.
You could scrap those washing machines more than that.
Well, those IV caddies, with IV stands in that list too.
Yeah, and they vary.
$30 a piece. But, well, they're kind of high if you buy them.
Well,
If you're even used.
they vary anywhere from $25 to $150, $200, each according to quality. And those we've got are nice, they're not, you know, they're not real cheap. Yeah. Once at Walmart say anything, you know how that goes. Yeah, that wasn't a lot of money really for.
I wonder how much they,
anymore, so I don't know if they're still interested or not.
I kind of wonder how much they got in their COVID relief.
Oh, they've got plenty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The
I
low
know that.
balls.
But like I said, that's just information. I do have another part on there as well. I mean, if you're done with that, let's just want to vote on John Hoyt, but that's a
Well,
low ball.
do you need to, since it was on the agenda, do you need to dispose of it?
What, the equipment?
The sale. I made a motion to decline.
Yeah, if y'all want to decline, but I'm not bringing, you know, my recommendation is that's low ball offer. So, I mean, it's however y'all use an acting board, if you want to vote on it, that's fine. Myself and Doug can tell them it's a low ball offer and move on.
That's fine with me. I would move my motion. And that way we can just be done with it.
We do a roll call on it, that would keep this.
If we do a roll call on it, it does away with it, no questions asked.
And if in the future we could bring it back and do a roll call.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they offer, there's another offer, yeah, I mean, if they brought to us. You got a second?
Well, if we're gonna sell the stuff inside, we need to look into something like the govbids.com or something where all the government agencies list their stuff.
I agree.
We don't have enough people to do that. That's a lot of stuff to start trying to, it'd be, I think it'd be more beneficial as a whole if we just get rid of the hospital.
If it goes to the hospital, that's fine, but if it doesn't, and somebody says, I don't want none of the junk in the hospital, then
Speaking of the hospital itself, real quick, like I know it's not on the agenda to be discussed or whatever, but is there ever gonna be a time that we are gonna consider maybe putting this up at a public auction?
Well, that goes back to part two. I have some people in the crowd here to put their report on them.
I'm gonna,
Okay.
it was motion made with Pivot, second by Esquinox. We'll just do a roll call on it.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Dewey Estimov.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trentham.
Yes.
James Woody.
Pass.
So on that with the second part, I'd like to introduce Mr. Hunt, who has, Gary, can you hear me? You got me, Gary? This is.
My hearing is very bad, so I got
This is Mr. Gary Hunt. I can't remember the exact date that we went and looked at the hospital, but it was back before Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
He was actually supposed to come at another time to talk with you all as a commission, as well as with the ID board, but with COVID, being in and around with his family and with some of the people he works with, so that's how come it kind of been put off a little bit. But he has an idea as far as the hospital and what he would like to, I guess, talk about as far as going forward to looking at for some possibility, some kind of care that you're specialized in, I guess, more than anything. So I'll turn it to you.
Our intent is to buy the hospital and a nonprofit, and we're gonna bring in veterans, nonprofit veterans type of operation. One of the key components of this is that a lot of veterans have to drive 3 hours one way to go to the VA. And what we're gonna do is bring in a network of people to help us. We're gonna take down the property, and it's gonna take a little time and energy to put it together. But we have a lot of people behind us, and it will benefit the whole community in a good way. And one of the most important things is that you need a destination creator, and the hospital can be a destination creator for veterans. And even in the surrounding states, we have a much broader plan, but we won't get into that right now. But it is our intent to purchase the hospital.
What's your background funding source?
I'm sorry?
What's your funding sources?
2 tours in Vietnam. My ears are still ringing.
I'm sorry.
I hear your voice, and
Yes,
I
sir.
apologize. If later on,
what's your funding sources?
my funding sources?
Yes.
I have a number of funding sources, and we're going to have a lot of veterans groups, and we're going to do. I have a gentleman a couple of very wealthy people that like this project, but before we get to that point, we have to put the package together, and that's what we're working on right now. But it takes time, about 120 days, to put the deal together to get the funding lined up to take down the property.
Gary, can I say something? I'm the DM, my name's Danny, and I think back in May, I stumbled across the hospital out here. We have an office, we've got an office in Dothan since June or July of last year, and we have a post office box. If we weren't serious about it, we wouldn't have stayed around this long. But what we've done, we've looked at this. We like what we've seen. To answer your question, sir, a lot of it will be federal funding. But we have 2 great senators and a great congressman that I think will roll up their pencil and be knee-deep into this. There's over 17 million veterans in the United States of America, and 2/3 of them live in the South. That tells you anything. and they're really needing help. Now, as far as you and everyone in here, at this point, we can't say it's going to serve the community. It's going to be based for the veterans, but you will be able to go to the ER for critical care. That means a lot. Plus all the jobs back in the county, and it'll be a domino effect. But let me shut up and leave you with this. We can't do it by ourselves. It's going to take each one of you, commissioners, and every person in here. If you're not a part, you can pray. That's number one. That's what we ask everybody to do, is pray. But it's going to take every one of us to make it go. And there's no reason we can't. We see a great opportunity for the veterans. We see a great opportunity for Polk County. And we see a great opportunity for humanity. So I'm going to shut up and sit down, and we'd like the opportunity to come back and go a little bit further. I know you all don't know. Gary will give you his email address, and you can contact Mr. Robbie there. He'll help you. We've been talking to him for quite a while. Mayor Doug, Councilman Talley, we've been working with him probably a year this coming May. So we're very dedicated to this project, folks. But we need everybody's help, every 100% of you, to make it happen, and we can make it happen.
Are y'all interested in just the hospital or our doctor's office too?
So we want to buy everything, the whole thing.
Y'all are contingent too on, you're contingent on Kimsey College as well, correct? Y'all are looking at the college as part of this project.
The key component is, we're within 155 acres with that property that goes with the school. And what we would do is we would start out with maybe 100, 200 veterans that would be able to, we're going to renovate the building where they come in and we get them off the streets, whatever. And we have a whole plan of action for healthcare. What it does, this by taking the veterans and the hospital together, it creates a lot of synergy, and it opens the door for the Veterans Administration to come in and work with us. And the combination of the two is what we're going for. And also there are other things we can do to create other for jobs, and we'll get into it right now. But if you want to talk about it later, we'd be glad to do that.
We also had the engineers and architects, our firms over there today. They've been over there early this morning. And Gary's been snoring on me back here. I've been having to punch him to keep him awake. He's wore out. But we've been over there all day today, and they took a tour. Everybody likes what we see so far.
Have y'all talked to and been working with the township? The college is under the township control, am I correct? For practitioners.
Yes.
So y'all have talked to the township with?
Not as a whole, no. We haven't went deep. We're concentrating on the hospital itself right now.
Okay.
They have had a discussion with the commission, and I did for them anyway, and got the price point from the school that corporation would be willing to discuss with them. So there is some negotiation started.
I got a question for you. Would you prefer getting the hospital with or without the equipment that is in there?
You're going to have to forgive me, but I
We want the equipment. We want the equipment.
You want the equipment, okay.
And that's another reason, I understand some on board, but that's another reason why we have kind of waited, because these talks have been going on for a while. And like I said, more with Ducktown, I think I came in the last couple of months, but it's a hole.
Yeah. We've just had so many, that's why we don't want to be, we hope and pray this takes place.
They're not been around here though.
Right. We've just had so many come in here with so many promises, and but we know where you're coming from, because this is not you're trying to make this to help,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
just about money.
No.
And we're very thankful for that. We just gotta you know, we've gotta turn everything into where something pays us something eventually.
Yes, ma'am.
But, you know, it sounds like a
Right
great
now, we're looking at
plan.
20 counties. Of course,
Yeah.
we're going into Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. And Gary has a lady in Knoxville that's been doing this for almost 20 years with the veterans. And she's visited, I think Mayor Robbie, or Executive Robbie met her too last fall. And Mayor Doug, he's met her. The lady's very intelligent. She's worked on a smaller base scale, what we're trying to do many times with the veterans. But that's our goal, is to help these veterans get a home, get a job, have a family, have a normal life as best as they can, because 17 million is a large number, and 2/3 that live in the South. They're here all around us everywhere, so it's realistic, and that's why we've stayed here nearly a year. We're really looking into this. We hope that y'all will ask questions and get involved, and we can go into level 2 or 3 or 4 sometime.
So y'all way asking for a tax exempt status?
We're not gonna ask anything.
We're not gonna ask for anything.
Are y'all tax exempt now, the organization?
We have for-profit and non-profit opportunities that go along with it.
Yeah.
The key component is we bring the veterans in, we're able to they have VA benefits.
Right.
And they've got, we can tap into about 20 counties in the surrounding area. We're putting a veterans advisory board together at all levels, and to get the state involved and even the federal government. We have some networks of association that with the VA. I've been in the VA system for about 50 years. And so we see a lot of problems. There's some holes in their diet. This project, if we could get the government in with us, it becomes a cash cow for the county, tax revenues and everything else, because we have to provide services, products, materials for those veterans. And that starts a chain reaction of events, and it's just bringing it all together, and we're working on that right now.
The reason, probably 70%, we've not dug too deep into it, but what questions we found answers to. 70% of the reason why the hospital closed is because of Medicare and Medicaid. With the prices that just skyrockets in the medical field, you just can't make it on Medicaid, Medicare, TeamCare. And then you got, what, a 6-figure digit from prescription drugs coming through the ER about every year, or a lot, and they don't, it's totally lost. Basically, what this will do through the veterans, it will become federal funded. We don't have to depend on Medicare and Medicaid to pay the doctors and the staff and the nursing and so on and so forth. So it's going to be the same hospital, only it's going to be better, and it's going to be funded by federal money. And of course, they'll still take Medicare and Medicaid and TeamCare, but they won't have that.
What your private funds, insurances, Medicare, Medicaid, and all that stuff don't cover, your hope is that the federal government comes in and kicks up the rest.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. And the cause and effect of that government coming in, it just starts growing and creating a lot of service jobs. If we bring in 300 veterans, that's a lot of veterans, and that's a lot of services, and it'll create a lot of jobs. So it's the only, you have to create a destination, and this will be a big destination, because you have surrounding states, and I think it's politically correct for all up the food chain, because it's been sitting there for 2 or 3 years, and it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, there's nowhere that anyone loses. So we have a new presentation that's going to be coming out here in a very soon that will share. You'll have a lot more information, and we can have a little bit more detail. And if you have any other additional questions, give us a call, and we'll be glad to answer them.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
I hope, I mean, this sounds like, on the front end, it sounds like a really good thing, and I hope it is. And I hope it works out.
And Gary, if y'all have just a little bit, I have a few that I'd like for you all to talk to. I know in one of our other meetings, I talked to you about our Veterans Affairs Officer, and he's here. And I'd just like to.
Is he here?
Yes, he is here tonight, so that's.
Oh,
the only thing.
okay.
So, but like I said, and I know that there'll be a lot of other questions, if anybody would like to, but I definitely have a few I'd like you all to kind of talk to before you just head back, head out. But I do appreciate you all coming tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda is our announcements and statements. Does anybody have anything?
I think that it's been mentioned about the house on school property. We need to have a building committee meeting at that house during the daylight and look at it and see what we're gonna do. It ain't getting no better shape sitting there. It's been a couple of years
I
now.
was told the outside unit there.
I've heard that the heat and air unit got stolen. I will get with everybody on the building committee in the next day or so and see when everybody can get there, and we'll let paper know. It'd have to be on a Saturday or something during the daytime. You know, it's getting dark early. Can't do it at 7 in the evening, so maybe 4 or 4:30 through the week or on a Saturday. But I'll get with everybody next day or so and see. It ain't getting no better.
It either needs to be sold, given to the school, or something needs to be turned into something needs to be said, because it's sitting there. I was told it's been broke into 5 to 7 times since the last time we addressed.
If it don't, get turned back into nothing, but just somebody buys it for a house or a lot and builds a house, whatever, and it gets back on the tax roll, that's
Get our money
a
back.
whole lot more than what we've been getting out of it.
The original understanding was we would do that property, we would sell that house and put the money back in on the cost of the land purchase. That was what had been discussed at length, and then somebody decided it would be a central office. Well, ADA, the price to redo it, because it's too strict a story, the ADA cost was gonna be unreal to even think about that.
Yeah.
And I don't think the school's really interested in it, no way. But some people had that in mind, or some other issues, and it's still sitting there. It's like our internet, it ain't done.
Right. We're not rich enough just to let stuff sit around and die. We ain't rich enough for nothing. Let's take care of that rich part. Anyway.
I'd like to, as Commissioner Woody did earlier, as he recognized Lynn with the chamber, Lynn had a USDA grant that came across her desk the other day. Just kind of an update, I know people talk about the show barn. So the county's going to go forward and helping to get this, and there's going to be some monies coming in, and we're hoping to be able to see the completion of the lights, the wiring. Also, some on the commission had talked about the possibility of trying to spray foam insulate, maybe some air handling, so that'll be coming up next month. So be looking for that. It's $20,000 in the grant, is that right, Lynn?
The grant is $20,000, and I think the estimate was like $4,500 overage, which is above the 10% match. So if the county covers that overage, that's our only responsibility.
So.
Well, there's something I'd like to see on the show barn, because it's been a question for years and years, is who sets the regulations, the hours of usage on that show barn? As far as I know that Soil and Water has done a lot on the who uses it, what is that? Are they the official person to go to for use on the show barn? Has that ever been decided? Because I know from the fair county, it's that kind of discussion on
Extension's always.
Battery's about dead.
The ones who people call to use it, things like that. And it's been that way 28 years, that's how long I've been here, so I don't know how it was started, how it was, I was told that when it was built, it was 4-H and FFA, and that's kind of how it started, so.
Well, I feel like that if we get all of it together and we get it going and we've got something nice now that can be used by the county, that we took county money and put into it with our $75,000 grant. So I would just like, on my end, this is me talking, I don't want to speak for anybody else. I'd like for us to be able to make sure that we have it out there for people to rent for weddings, birthdays, you know, whatever the deal is. So we have a set price for that money to be able to go back into a escrow type fund for upkeep, because we don't want it to get back to where the original one, the need that it got into. And, you know, so all of that, when the time comes, you know, I think we all need to get together and have, you know, an understanding of, you know, who takes the appointments, the money, who handles the money, you know, from the renting of it, and, you know, just so everybody's on the same page. Yeah, and like you say, I know y'all have always done it, and, you know, and nothing would interfere. I mean, you know, 4-H, FFA, all of y'all's activities come first.
Yeah.
They're first and foremost. Nobody ever wants to step on that foot, you know.
Can the county do, rent that out?
Do what? Yes, counties can rent out county buildings for the general welfare and health of their.
Well, we've got like 50 venues now in the county.
Right.
But I thought we couldn't compete with private enterprise.
We cannot compete with utilities. We build utilities. We have
It's always
we have
been
a
in
utility board,
I mean,
that is kind of like IDB board. Legislative body does not oversee utilities, electric, water, sewer, cities can, to a great extent.
But as far as private enterprise, that's kind of broad. Could the county open a for-profit restaurant?
Don't think so.
So what's the difference?
Look up the
That's
code.
competing against the venues. I'm just asking.
I'll tell you, get chapter.
well, I don't know, and it may not can't be done. I mean, I it can't be done, it can't be done. It always has been. I mean, I remember I paid $75 to do a 50 or whatever it was, Greg. You remember what normally I've done a Halloween party, and it's, you know, it was always cheap, you know, what.
That's what they always did, was just, you know, nominal fee to
Right,
pay for the toilet tissue.
exactly, that's about all I've ever done, you know.
That recoups the amount of use that. it's
Right,
used.
and a lot of people can't afford, I mean, and you know, the venues that we've got are all nice, and I mean, you know, I don't think this actually would even compete, I mean, because we want to keep the price down there cheap.
I
So
wasn't talking about
people-
venues in particular.
Right.
I just thought we could do.
Yeah, right.
Compete with private
But-
enterprise.
If we done that, we wouldn't be able to put public internet in the courthouse.
Like I said, but we can't go in restaurant business, we can't go in other kinds of business.
Right. But like we did for the utility business, we just have to create a board and hand it over to me.
Well,
You'll get a board.
like I say, when we get everything, we get lights and we get everything done, then if there needs to be further investigation, we'll set a board up for investigation or whatever.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.